We got some new details about the New Game Plus mode and the hardest difficulty in Final Fantasy XVI, as well as confirmation that they are not including an iconic form of travel from the Final Fantasy series in the final game. All of these updates come from Game Informer, and they are going absolutely ham, just like they did with Resident Evil 4 Remake. Final Fantasy XVI has all kinds of exclusive info being revealed from them, from director interviews to lore details and so much more. We got a crazy time ahead of us, and I also have been covering Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake's news on the channel. I'm a big Metal Gear fan, so feel free to check those out if you guys have not yet already. Got lots of great stuff coming your way. And also make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Let's raise that 14% subscribed even higher. Now with that being said, let's get into the video. Besides the story and actually being able to play the game, the main thing that I'm most excited for is arcade mode in Final Fantasy XVI. There will be an on-screen score calculator and a combat grader, and there will also be a leaderboard attached to this mode in the harder difficulties. So the different stages you get to replay and get high scores on, you can compete against other players online for the top spots. And that's easily getting 100 hours put into it from me, as we compete on stream of course. The main thing about this though, is once you beat the game and unlock New Game Plus, it opens up 2 additional versions, the Final Fantasy mode and the Ultimaniac mode. Both of these are more difficult than the new game's base story, which makes sense for the first time around. They specifically said this is done on purpose to make sure that the first time around you're able to enjoy the story and lore bits, properly learning the controls and abilities. And then, when you finally access those modes, they'll crank things up to a crazy level. While also, if you do miss a treasure or any items in a specific level, the stage replay feature will allow you to go back and access it. New Game Plus will give you all the abilities and items as well as gear that you unlock, all available from the jump. It will change monster placement and also remix which enemies might appear in various combat sections. The second playthrough and multiple playthroughs are aiming to really put us through the ringer, as they pointed out that how in the initial playthrough, when Clive goes against waves of enemies, they will attack him one by one or wait around and have easily identifiable patterns of attacks. But in these other game modes, the attack patterns will shift, and multiple enemies will be coming for Clive's ass. These different modes will have different arcade challenges as well, so the replayability in Final Fantasy XVI includes a lot of other avenues, so you can sink your time into it. In the New Game Plus, you can upgrade Clive's weapons even further than the original limit, as well as upgrading accessories. The official name of the trials are the Chronolith Trials. The harder version on Final Fantasy mode are called the Final Chronolith Trials. Some trials will also be based on icons, and those specific ones you're going to be limited to that one icon's abilities and moves, and you're forced to make do. Not to mention, in these trials you will not be able to heal outside of utilizing your limit break and self-healing through that. All of this sounds really good, and I cannot wait to get through the hardest challenges with you guys. Apparently there are no bonus awards for completing the hardest challenges. It's mostly a fun challenge and just for pride. So good news for those who are not great at action games. It doesn't seem that really amazing gear or any abilities will be locked behind these modes, so you will not be forced to play it unless you really want to access it. But them saying that you can upgrade the weapons and armor to higher levels than the initial playthrough does sound pretty interesting, I can't lie. Now they have a second article I have been seeing making its rounds on social media, and I want to know what you guys think about this. It relates to how you will be traveling around in Final Fantasy XVI's world, aka zones. Outright, the director Hiroshi Takai says that, to be honest, the main source of traveling will be chocobos and walking on foot. They wanted to focus more on the fast travel elements for the world map, and so they didn't design any kind of expanded world traversing system. So it's mostly walking and chocobos in addition to fast traveling via the map. There are moments in the story where Clive will access other traversal options, but they're not freely accessible outside of the story mission. This news has been bothering a lot of fans that I've seen because Final Fantasy games in history usually have an airship. It's part of their formula, and that's usually available towards the later portions of the story. Usually it's after the fact that you've gotten to go around the map and understand the surroundings a little bit more. Now to give you another way that you can access all of that and get from point A to point B. But since Final Fantasy XVI initially starts the way that it does, and it does not have a connected huge open world, I could see why they decided to not focus on it for this game, simply because of how it was designed. I believe Final Fantasy IX was the last game to feature an overworld traversing airship that you directly control. Correct me if I'm wrong on that because it has been a while. And from what I understand, titles like Final Fantasy X, 12, and 13's airships were mostly used for fast travel, to various points that it would reach, and it was a cutscene if anything. And of course, there are mounts in Final Fantasy XI and 14, but those are MMOs. And the Regalia in Final Fantasy 15 did have a flight mode, but was really towards the end of the game, mainly allowing you to get to a secret dungeon, but ultimately was a pretty cool way to navigate that world, I can't lie. 16 not having an airship isn't something that really bothers me. The game already offers a lot of cool elements at its base. It would be a really cool inclusion to see, and based on the director's statement, it does sound like there will be a mention or a reveal of some type of airship, but more along the lines of being related to the story moments, and a cutscene is what I'm getting from this. But I'm curious to know what you all think about this. Do you think airship travel is super important to the franchise, or are you not really bothered by it? Comment below and let's get a discussion going. Final Fantasy XVI's arrival is coming very, very soon. We have lots to look forward to, and I cannot wait to be able to stream this game for you guys when Final Fantasy XVI event is live, of course. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. More Final Fantasy videos are on the way, and you do not want to miss them. My name is BltzZ, and thanks for watching.